Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Life Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Russell Reynolds, coming to you from a Friday night. We are switching back to Friday nights from now on, where it all started for me. I started doing Friday night shows. Um, we are far too busy on Saturdays, and we want to give you guys good shows and stuff like that. So we are now back on Friday nights, and we are still doing our Sunday show as well. So, um, and we want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Gary Carpenter, welcome back. Glad you can join us tonight. Yes, definitely. R.I.P. to Chuck Norris, one of the legends in the acting business, martial artist. Very awesome dude. Our condolences go out to his family in this time of need. Um, Definitely an awesome actor. Loved his movies. Loved Walker, Texas Ranger. So we send our condolences and prayers out to his family as well. Um, Definitely a legend, and he's definitely going to be missed in movies, but his legacy will still live on through movies. So, um, before we get into the show tonight, I want to plug an event real quick. Mother's Day, May 9th. Get your tickets from Mortuary Manor. Come out and investigate with my dad and I, cousins of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and you'll be able to experience the manor with us. This is our first time going to be there, and we'll be there. We're the VIP guests, so get your VIP tickets if you want to come with us. There's also general admission as well. General admission will get you access to at your own pace. VIP get you access to us, and bring your sleeping bags and blankets because it goes from 8:45 p.m. to 7 in the morning. So you guys will be crashing there with us. So um, make sure you get your tickets for that before they sell out. Check out Eclipse Paranormal on Eventbrite to get your tickets. You can also put a down payment on them, and I know ticket sales end sometime next month for that event. So get your tickets in soon. I think the 12th of next month it ends. So be sure to get your tickets in and get them paid for. And we'll see you there May 9th at Mortuary Manor. That's going to be a good one. Um, our next event, I don't have room on my StreamYard for it, but we are going to be at Crypticon KC this year um, in August. So get your tickets for that. We are confirmed for Crypticon, the big horror movie convention. We are headlining the Paranormal this year. This is the first ever they're doing the Paranormal at their Crypticon in Kansas City. So get your tickets, and there's different ticket types. There's VIP, the gold package VIP gets you access to the VIP dinner with all the actors, and also it gets you access in early before the general admission. There's also the silver package, which is the general admission for all 3 days. That gets you in 30 minutes ahead of time, and then your general admission. Which general admission you have to pay each day to get into Crypticon, where VIP you don't. You're in for all 3 days. You just keep your wristband on. Hey, brilliant, welcome in. And then our next one, we are confirmed for Bordertown Paracon. I am waiting for them to flyer out. That will be August 6th. Um, we're also confirmed for Rock Island Paracon this year. I'm just waiting on the flyer for that as well. We were at Rock Island last year with our family, and we are coming back this year. They asked us to come back. And this year we are bringing merch and equipment for sale. So we are selling stuff this year. So come check us out. With us being an LLC now, we are a licensed business. So we will be hosting our own paranormal events as well. So just keep an eye on the Facebook page for the business page. Beyond Life Paranormal Research LLC on Facebook, and we'll be posting them. So, um, hey, Sandy, welcome in. With that being said, tonight's topic is a pretty good, interesting one. We're going to talk about some of the top 10 most haunted locations in America. Um, this guy, I got this article from, uh, these are some of his top 10 locations. Let me get to my notes here. First one, this is his great grandfather's house. And one intriguing tale involved his great great grandfather, Christian Kinnock, who was killed in the Civil War at Champion Hill in the Battle of Vicksburg. When he left his pregnant wife on an Iowa farm to join the Union Army, she was so barefoot he promised he would return. When she gave birth to their baby on the farm alone, as the family legend goes, Christian appeared to her at the foot of her bed over the baby's cradle, but had died the day before in Mississippi. But he still kept his promise, and he still showed up in this house. Been to Hollywood twice and NYC twice. Nice. So yeah, his spirit, he kept his promise, and he came back to his wife and little baby, which was awesome. I mean, spirits will do that; they'll keep their promise. And for him to be, he was killed in the Civil War, which the Civil War stretched all the way from Missouri, Iowa, everything. So, our next haunted location. This is our number one, listed as the number one haunted location in the United States today. It's been based on several movies, and several books by the author Stephen King. Then you had the movie The Shining. You had the Stephen King movie Doctor Sleep was also based on the Stanley Hotel, which Stanley Gerback, Stephen King wasn't too happy with him when he did The Shining because it didn't tack on to his book, so to speak. So that's why Stephen King did the movie Doctor Sleep. So if you're a fan of horror movies or writer Stephen King, you know about this hotel. The book and the movie, The Shining, was inspired by its history and very prolific paranormal activity. The sprawling colonial revival hotel was built by the Stanley Steamer Mangate and opened in 1909 with 420 rooms. Multiple bedrooms, restaurants, an underground cave system, and a spectacular grand staircase. This hotel has been featured on nearly all major ghost television series, which, if you remember, TAP's Ghost Hunters did a Halloween live investigation in there, and they captured a woman. They could hear it with their own ears, and on TV you could hear it, a woman down in the basement down there yelling hello. And it has a spectacular grand staircase. This hotel has been featured on nearly all major ghost television series. Stephen King, the king of horror, stayed in the notorious room 217 and had the wits scared out of him. He was violently awakened by screams and a nightmare of his son being chased down the hall. Another room is 237, which, if you remember, 237 was where Grant was sitting at a table changing a battery in the camera, and the whole table lifted up. And then you remember in The Shining, 237 was where that woman was in the bathtub, where Jack Nicholson walks in and sees that woman. And then another room, 237, where Jack Nicholson saw the horrific ghost in the bathtub, and the hallway rooms 217 and 237 was where the creepy Grady twins appear beckoning little Danny. Room 217 is believed to be haunted by Miss Elizabeth Wilson, the hotel's head housekeeper, who was fastidiousous in life and death. Guests report luggage unpacked, items moved, which Stephen King reported that his luggage was all unpacked. Items move, lights going off and on, and she doesn't approve of unmarried guests sleeping together in the room. They often feel the frigid force between them. Other paranormal hotspots, or rather cold spots, are the grand staircase, where apparitions appear at the top of the stairs. Rooms 401 and 428 have many strange goings on, including the sound of laughing children and footsteps, a cowboy sitting on the bed moving furniture, and a closet door that shuts on its own. Guests in the concert hall hear a spirit ordering them to get out, and eerie piano music, and the underground caves where the hotel's 75-minute paranormal tours and has a high rate of paranormal ghost activity, ghost hunters say. So that's a little bit about Stanley. Hey, cousin Don, welcome in. Charleston, Savannah, Georgia is on my bucket list. I had some friends stay there once, and in the servants' room, and they heard kids in the hallway. Yeah, they say there was a man that had froze to death there as well. I remember that on Ghost Hunters. There was a man that passed away there. He froze to death, and I believe it's the ballroom out there because there was no heat out there. Friends stayed there and bought me a magnet, the hotel in the front. I actually got an invite to go there this year with my friend Jeanette to investigate the Stanley, but we are so booked we're not going to be able to go this year. And that is an awesome, creepy hotel. That's definitely on my bucket list of places to go to is the Stanley. Because I am a huge fan of the Shining movies. So, um, Jack Jack Nicholson played an awesome character in that movie, and that was one of my favorites. Um, our next haunted location is, many of you probably know this location if you live back east. A little bit of history. It housed Al Capone at one time. His cell is still there, and it's still set up the way he had it, but the prison's deteriorating now. It is Eastern States Penitentiary. Is another one of the most haunted locations there. Prison of Horrors is constantly ranked among the most haunted in the United States. The grim medieval-looking stone fortress was built in 1829 by Quakers who envisioned it as a place of isolation that would inspire penitence in wrongdoers. Prisoners were confined in damp, dark stone rooms with no windows where punishments were serve and cruelty unchecked. Chaining inmates' tongues to their wrists, that was one punishment. Suicides and insanity were rampant in the penitentiary. Solitary confinement was supposedly prohibited in the 1870s, but overcrowding forced the issue beginning in 1913 until the prison was closed in 1970. Today, the prison is visited by thousands of tourists each year. Disembodied laughter, wailing specters, pacing footsteps, echoes of shackles and shaking iron bars, and the ghost of Pep, the prison dog, have been seen by many people. Cell block 4, 6, and 12 report the most paranormal activity. A locksmith was working in cell block 4 during the restoration and felt present beside him watching. At one point, he stopped and looked up, and a shadow jumped across the cell block and disappeared. Sci-fi series Ghost Hunters also famously filmed a distinct shadowy figure in cell block 4. And They do a haunted house attraction there every year for Halloween, and so you're, as far as I know, you're still be able to go there. I heard something that they stopped the paranormal investigations there. What I heard for a while, and I think they're still doing some restoration of the place, also trying to get it fixed up because I mean the walls are crumbling in spots and stuff. Um, so we're gonna move on to our next one. Uh, Many of you know this. There was a movie based on on this house. Um, the house is a house over 1,000 doors. It's over 24,000 square feet. It is known as the Winchester Mystery House, which Sarah Winchester, as many of you know, her husband was the developer of the Winchester rifles. And she was told after her husband had passed away that anybody that was killed with the Winchester repeating rifles, the spirits were going to come back to haunt her. So she kept adding on to the house till the day she passed away. I mean, there's doors that go to nowhere. This sprawling behemoth of a house started out as a modest 8-room farmhouse. It ended up as a 24,000 square foot mansion with 160 rooms, 40 bedrooms, 10,000 windows, 24,000, 2,000 doors, 13 bathrooms, 6 kitchens, 47 fireplaces, and 52 skylights. The heiress to the Winchester Repeating Arms fortune, Sarah Lockwood Harday Winchester, lost her young daughter first to illness, then her husband to tuberculosis. Heartbroken, Sarah hired a psychic to reach out to her lost loved ones. The seer, supposedly channeling her dead husband, told her that her family had been killed by the ghosts of Winchester gunshot victims. To appease the spirits, the soothsayer directed Sarah, "You must go west, buy a house, and continuously build onto it. If you ever stop, she would die." She purchased an unfurnished farmhouse in San Jose in 1884 and began feverish construction. 38 years later, and having spent 70 million in today's currency for continuous instruction, she died in the 70-story mansion. She left an architectural oddity of labyrinth proportions, full of ghosts, including that of her own troubled spirit. Today, the mansion is still owned by the Winchester estate and is open for tours. The third floor is particularly active with paranormal activity. And remember, Ghost Hunters actually, they did their episode there. I believe Zach Bagans was there as well. Winchester House, Alcatraz, and the Queen Mary are also on my bucket list. Yeah, mine too. I'd love to go to Alcatraz and investigate. That is another place I would love to go to. The Queen Mary also, I would like to check it out, but I want it where it's empty. There's nobody in there. I don't know if you remember the episode of Ghost Hunters with the Queen Mary where they had somebody messing with their cameras, sneak in the room and mess with one of their cameras. But and this house is interesting. Remember in Ghost Hunters, actually it was Steve that got lost in it. They almost opened a door that dropped off to the outside and didn't know it. And then sealed staircases and doors that go to nowhere, and she did it to confuse the spirits, which pretty interesting house. Another place I'd love to go check out, and it's rated one of the top 10 haunted places in America. They have it on number 3 on the list. Um, The next one we're going to talk about is Hotel Monte Vista, which is in Flagstaff, Arizona. Which, Flagstaff's got a lot of paranormal activities with the Native Americans and then the old Western cowboys and the Ghost Adventure crew was there at the Queen. Yep, I do remember. Oh, Zach was there as well. Um, this hotel is a 73-room hotel, has a very colorful history of guests alive and dead. It was completed in 1927 with the funding help of ironic Western writer Zane Grey. This beautifully appointed landmark is one of the oldest operational hotels in Arizona and has hosted such famous guests like as John Wayne, who had made some run-ins with the hotel's ghosts, Alan Ladd, Gary Cooper, Humphrey Bogart, Zane Grey, Clark Gable, Walter Brennan, Barbara Stanwyck, Lee Marvin, Carol Lambert, Jane Russell, Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, and many others. Many guests report supernatural interactions. Room 305 is by far the most active, with a woman who was a longtime resident sitting in a rocking chair at the window, or the chair rocking by itself. Other activities include a screaming baby in the basement, the ghosts of two prostitutes who were thrown from room 306 and killed, and now placed their hands over their mouths of sleeping visitors and attempt to suffocate them. The meat man in room 220 is an eccentric who used to hang fresh meat from the chandelier. The elevator attendant whose whispering voices ask visitors which floor. His disembodied hand closes doors, or his face appears in the mirror behind visitors as they leave the elevator. That's pretty interesting. Probably be another cool place to check out. Hotel Del Colorado, Tombstone, and Deadwood, South Dakota are on my list too. Yeah, I'd definitely love to go to Tombstone, and that would be a pretty awesome place. I got looking at prices for out there, and it's actually not too bad to investigate out there price wise. Another place I'd like to go to is Dodge City, Kansas. Is another place that would be cool to investigate, and I would love to go out there. Um, our next one that we're going to move on to, many of you know this, is from the Salem witch trials. The old Salem witches. This is the House of the Seven Gables in Salem, Massachusetts. And there are a few places in the United States that can claim more paranormal bona fides in Salem, Massachusetts. During the 1692-93 Salem witch trials, 200 people were tortured and convicted, and at least 20 were executed. Salem is also the birthplace of Nathaniel Hawthorne, author of the horror novel House of the Seven Gables, inspired by this massive saltbox curtain home. Tales abund of witchcraft, family curses, maniacal laughter, footsteps, and other agitated ghosts of Pechon. The Mall family members who lived in but felt imprisoned by the house. And if you get a chance, check out my cousin's book. He wrote a book on the Salem witches, Sam Baltrusis. They made several episodes. Yep, they have actually. Um, And that is a pretty active. I hear a lot of stuff, and um, that goes on up there. And I did read an article, and I don't know how true it is. I have not heard from family yet that Annabelle may be going to Salem, Massachusetts, the Warren's Occult Museum. 14 objects from the Warren's Occult Museum may be going up there to a new museum. I can't confirm it. It's just an article. It's just rumors that's out now. House of Seven Gables is awesome. Awesome Salem Witch Museum. I've been past Salem. I've never been to it yet. Um, that is another place I'd like to go see. Other places I want to see: San Antonio, Harper's Ferry, and Boston. Yeah, I've been to Boston several times. Boston's a pretty active place too as far as paranormal, because that whole New England colonial history, the Revolutionary War, and stuff like that. You've got up in that area, and then you had the immigrants coming over. So I definitely would love to go to Salem. That would be an awesome place. And another location which is kind of shocking: the Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago, which is supposedly haunted. Lions and tigers and ghosts, oh my. The Lincoln Park Zoo has been called one of the most active sites ever investigated by parapsychologists and ghost hunters. Why? Because in the 1840s and 50s, the land was the city's original cemetery where 35,000 bodies were buried, including 6,000 Confederate prisoners of war. Many of the bodies were typhoid victims and moved because the cemetery was too close to the city water supply, but some, perhaps as many as several thousand, were not. The zoo was founded in 1868, one of the oldest zoos in North America, and staff and visitors immediately started reporting ghosts wearing Victorian clothing. One Victorian female specter is often seen near the lion house, and woman in the ladies' room. There are shocked to see her image in the mirror, then turn around to see nothing is there. The Couch Mausoleum is the only above ground grave that remains on the Lincoln Park Zoo grounds, having survived the 1871 Chicago fire and the moving of the cemetery. It is said to be a haunted hotspot. Zoo visitors often take photographs of the animals and find strange frogs, orbs, faces without bodies, or filmy apparitions where no one was standing in the photographs. There is other possible reasons for hauntings at the Lincoln Park Zoo. From 1894 to 1919, there was a 42-foot long bridge overlooking the park, but it became the city's most common place for suicides. As many as 100 people jumped or hung themselves from Suicide Bridge, as it came to be called, until it was torn down. Some believe some of those tragic souls also haunt the park. Which, can you imagine the animals in that place? Born and raised in Massachusetts. Washington, D.C. is a great place to visit. New Orleans, yeah. In fact, my cousin Johnny Zaffis is going to be in New Orleans this year. They're hosting a big Paracon down there, and I think it's around the time Mardi Gras is going on, and they'll all be down there. But yeah, can you imagine the animals in these zoo, these apparitions that are showing up with these animals they're seeing, these lions and stuff? It's got to be tormenting on them as well and scaring them. And I'm sure the lions and stuff probably get aggressive, and they can't explain why all of a sudden the lion's acting nasty or something like that. Um, we are going to move on to our next one. This is number 6, which I don't have a picture for. Hang on, let me see if I can get a picture for that. Actually, there is no picture for that one, but I will read the history. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's in Oregon, and it's a Hot Lake Hotel in LaGrange, Oregon. They didn't have a picture for it, and matter of fact, right there, there we go. This is Hot Lake Hotel, LaGrange, Oregon. This location has an ancient storied but also stained past. It is no wonder the land and the resort later built on it in 1864 is haunted by spirits from bygone years. Site of a naturally warm, thermal-fed lake, it served Native Americans first, primarily the Nez Perce, with its healing waters, then westering pioneers of the Oregon Trail. In 1864, the health resort was built on his shores, frequented by many patients, including the Mayo brothers, founders of the Mayo Clinic. In 1903, the resort was expanded into the sprawling brick hotel that eventually could house more than 1,000 guests and also boasted medical wards, restaurants, and a ballroom. In 1934, a massive fire destroyed most of the wood structures, but the brick hotel survived. Fire was the fire and the depression, however, brought a quick decline during World War II. It became a nursing training center, then a flight school, then a storage facility for the bodies of typhoid victims until graves could be dug for them. Then the facility became a nursing home, then an insane asylum, and was finally abandoned in 1991. The hotel already accumulated a litany of ghost stories, but during the 15 years it was abandoned and the tales attained, such as fevered pitch. The place was featured on ABC series The Scariest Places on Earth in 2001. And it was on there and it was turned into a hotel and spa. Was abandoned and the tales attained such fever pitch, and it was featured on Scariest Places on Earth in 2001. Hauntings include oil Backners, a nurse scalded to death in the lake, a gardener who committed suicide, and asylum patients. A piano formerly owned by Robert E. Lee's wife plays by itself on the third floor. Screaming and crying have been reported from the hospital surgery room, as well as rocking chairs moving on their own. Today, the hotel has been generously renovated as a hotel and spa, which is pretty interesting. There's another place in Oregon called Wolf Manor. Yep, I've heard of that. Well, you remember the Overlook Hotel that was in the movie The Shining? That is somewhere over there. I believe it's in Oregon also, where they filmed the inside scenes and the outside scenes of the Shining movie was filmed at that hotel. And they say that hotel there is haunted as well. And that's where all the outside scenes for The Shining was filmed, was there. Um, and our next one we're going to move on to is this place has been on several ghost hunting shows. It's been on Ghost Hunters. It's been on Portals to Hell. It's been Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, Paranormal Lockdown, and many of you'll know this when you see it. Um, let me get the picture up here. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. As many, this place has been, in, like I said, on several shows, and another one of the most haunted places in America. In fact, you have to have insurance, or you can buy insurance through them to actually access this location to investigate. And how much misery can one building contain? If misery and a wasted life caused unsettled spirits, it is no wonder that the walls of this horrific structure house ghosts. Ironic, too, because originally the institution was built in 1863 as a state of the art hospital, bright and cheery, intended to treat mentally ill, especially Civil War soldiers returned from the horrors of war, unable to cope as humanely and gently as possible. It was designed to house 250 patients, each with a large, bright, beautifully appointed room, and given the freedom to roam the acres of gardens and farmland and park-like surrounds. But within 20 years, with the aftermath of the Civil War and the other economic and cultural societal ravages, the population of the institution tripled. Another reason the population exploded: husbands had the sole power to commit their wives, no matter the reason, and many did, leaving women for years or until they died. The idyllic facility was overrun, the budget stretched, the facility mismanaged, staff impatience and chaos. By the 1950s, the hospital had 2,600 patients, more than 10 times its capacity. When the Charleston Gazette newspaper did an expose on the asylum, the reporters and readers could not believe what they found. Patients in cages, others sleeping on the floor in their own feces, unmanageable filth, and crowding. In a surgical area, the asylum reporters found that hundreds of lobotomies were being performed by the famous Dr. Walter Freeman, by hammering an ice pick type spike into the patient's eye socket to sever specific congestive tissue in the brain, which that is crazy. I mean, the cruelty, that kind of reminds you of Penhurst, another good example of the treatment there. There was that one King's Asylum in Long Island, New York, same way. Um, there was a big one on the Hudson River The Poughkeepsie Lunatic Asylum, same way, which that one is no longer standing. That one actually got struck by lightning too many times and burnt to, burnt to the ground. The only thing is the outer shell of the bricks, which are probably falling down now. And I think they were in talks of demolishing it. But I mean, there was also Rome State School in Rome, New York, that was like this place, and the mistreating of and places like that, facilities. A lot of them, when the patients passed away, they'd bury them in unmarked graves out in the field somewhere, and not even bother to call the family, especially if they were being mistreated or they were being beaten to death. They would bury them out in unmarked graves out in fields and not even call the family. And a lot of them didn't. Families never came to see them because they weren't allowed to. So, and I mean, a lot of these institutions, there's family looking for family members that were in there, looking for graves and stuff. I was actually doing research for several families for a couple of locations. One was Rome State School. I was helping out families try to find their families, what happened to them. I was doing some investigating and research for them to help them out, to bring closure to them. And I still get reached out now and again to help people with that. And I do research for them on that because we are doing missing persons cases as well now. So um, we've been working one here in Missouri. So, but our next one we're going to move on to is, many of you will know this place as well too. Let me get the picture here. Myrtle's Plantation, one of the most haunted plantations in New Orleans. Um, was known as a sugar and cotton plantation, I believe. Um, Pennsylvania colonialist David Bradford, nicknamed Whiskey Dave, built this mansion in 1796 after escaping being prosecuted for his participation in the Whiskey Rebellion, protesting the government's high excise tax on whiskey. The plantation has been known for decades as one of the most haunted sites and has documented sightings at least 12 ghosts. Built upon Tunica Indian burial ground, the spirit sightings of at least 12 ghosts of a young Indian woman roaming outside is one of the spirits. Both Confederate and Union soldiers were killed inside the home, and their ghosts are said to haunt the home interior as well. But the most commonly seen spirit is that of Chloe, a beautiful former slave who was believed to be the mistress of one of the owners, Clark Woodruff. When Chloe was caught eavesdropping outside the door, the wife Sarah had her ear cut off. In retaliation, the legend goes, Chloe baked a birthday cake with the poisonous oleander leaves that killed Sarah and her two daughters. Chloe was then hung. She is often seen wearing a turban to hide her severed ear, which that was on episode of Ghost Hunters as well, and Ghost Adventures, and many of the paranormal investigators. We were supposed to do a Cold Spotters road trip down to New Orleans last year, but Amanda got busy filming, so and then there's going to be the New Orleans Paracon's going to be down by there, so this year. Another place on my bucket list I would love to go check out, and that is our number 9 haunted on the list. Our next one, Myrtle's Plantation, Whaley House, and Hotel del Colorado is on my list. Yeah, the Whaley House, another house. Did you ever see that movie, The Whaley House? There's a horror movie out called The Whaley House, and it's actually the house that it's filmed in is right down the road from the real Whaley house, and it touches back to the Whaley family, and then Yankee Jim that was hung on that property when there was gallows there. And Yankee Jim haunts the location in the movie with the Whaleys. And the one girl's a tour guide there, and she kind of looks like their deceased daughter that had committed suicide. And yeah, you'd have to check it out, Gary. Definitely check that movie out. The Whaley, it's on the Whaley House. It's on you can find it on Tubi, stuff like that. It's a pretty good movie. And I won't give you too many of the details of the movie since you haven't seen it. Um, but it's a pretty good movie. I like what they did to it. Um, and it shows the ghosts of the Whaleys dressed in their colonial clothes and stuff like that. And our next one we're going to move on to is our number 10. Many of you will know this place, the Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa. Many of you know the tragic history of that place. It was one of the most notorious axe murders that happened in Iowa. Um, it One of the most notorious and still unsolved mass axe murderers in U.S. history occurred in this Queen Anne farmhouse in small town Iowa on June 11, 1912. Sometime between midnight and 5 a.m., 8 people, including 6 children, were hacked to death by an axe as they lie sleeping in their beds. The bloody axe was left in the guest room next to the 4-pound slab of bacon the murderer had taken from the icebox. All the mirrors had been covered, and a partially eaten plate of food the murderer had made for himself remained after this horrific deed. The murders were never solved, but years later they were believed to the crimes of a mass serial murderer who killed more than 100 people with an axe, mostly farm families, across the United States, hopping freight trains, and his mode of travel. The Villisca home is a vortex of strange paranormal activity, including apparitions, orbs, footsteps, scraping sounds, and groans. Groups can also stay overnight in the home if they dare. And I've had several friends investigate. Only one cemetery on my list would be Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Oh, yeah. Have you seen Hollywood Graveyard? Author Dirt Dark is the host. Oh, yeah, I'd have seen that. Yeah. That is a pretty good show that he did. But I've had several friends up at Villisca, and they've captured quite a bit of evidence. And I can remember I saw a video where the house made a guy take his own pocket knife and stab his own hand with it. I believe the owners let Hauser go from Villisca. Yeah, he was a pretty cool guy. I never did get to meet him, but I knew of him and seen him in a lot of videos. I can't believe they let him go. I know he lived right across the street from there, and I remember him saying in an interview that the ghost would follow him to his house across the street. Um, Another place I'm surprised is not on this top 10 list is the Waverly Hills Sanatorium, because that is considered one of the most haunted places in America. And I mean, I've been there. I've gotten a lot of personal experiences as well as physical evidence out of there. and it lived up to its name, the most haunted place in America. Another one is Missouri State Penitentiary, the bloodiest 47 acres of Missouri. That's another place that should be on one of the most haunted places in America because you got constant paranormal activity in that location too as well. Um, Especially with them constantly changing everything at Missouri State, tearing buildings down. It's stirring up activity like crazy. That is what I'm afraid of, something following me home. What you got to do with that, if you're going to do that, you need to be forceful with your words and tell them they need to remain there. They are not allowed to follow you. Now, your dark or demonic stuff is a little different. They don't listen to you. But a regular spirit, if you tell them not to follow you, they'll listen to you. But you just got to be forceful, but be polite about it with your words and just tell them, look, you are not permitted to follow me home. You're not allowed to. You are to remain where you are and stay there. And a lot of times that will work. They'll stay where they're at. Um, so, I mean, an occasion like us, we'll get something that follows us. But lately, we've been, knock on wood, we've been lucky that nothing's been following us home lately. So, um, but yeah, that's why I'm surprised Waverly Hills is not on that list. Missouri State got here late. Was it no, the Sally House wasn't on that list either, which I'm surprised either. Um, I believe they're on the top 20 though, the top 20 haunted places in America. Um, I I'm surprised that they didn't put the Sally House on there. The Missouri State, even Ohio State Reformatory. Yeah, the Alamo. I've heard that's pretty active too. The Alamo down there in Texas. Um, Another place, but they don't let you investigate it. That should be on the top 10 most haunted place in America, and this is just my opinion on it because I've been there. Is the Jesse James Farmhouse in Kearney, Missouri. That place is a lot. There's a lot of activity in that location. That place should be on the top 10 most haunted list too. And because I mean they're constantly experiencing paranormal stuff in there, but they do not let you investigate that. The board of directors doesn't allow it. I know the head board president, she does not believe in any of it, so they don't allow it. They didn't when I was there, but that was several years ago, and I don't think they still do. There's a hotel in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Dulles Hotel in Queens College. Yep. Sally House is demonic as all get out. Heard horses galloping at the James farm. Yeah, the Alamo was awesome. Yeah, I've heard that about the Sally House. The James farm, yeah. I mean, I've got a couple pictures that we took, and Jerry, you might from being there, you remember the back window in the backyard that the Pinkertons threw the firebomb through the window. We took a picture in that window and a cowboy hat showed up in the window. Merger Hotel is pretty cool. Sleepy Hollow, yeah, another good one. Yeah, we took a picture there and you seen there was a cowboy hat in between me and another person that appeared in the window. Now the tour guide was taking our picture. There was nobody with a cowboy hat on. Nobody was in the house at that time because it was locked up. And then you look in the upper corner of the pane window and you see Zerelda, Jesse's mother, in the window, and then you see Jesse James right next to her. And it looked like the young Jesse James, not the older Jesse James. And it was pretty interesting. Um, and I would love for them to open that up for investigations. Cash Hotel in Gettysburg. Yeah, I've heard of that place also. I've done the orphanage in Gettysburg. I've done the ghost hunt in there. We did the ghost tour, and shout out to Ghostly Images of Gettysburg. Awesome group of people. If you're ever in Gettysburg, definitely book some tours with them. You won't be disappointed, that's for sure. Their tour guides are awesome. Christina and them guys, they put on a heck of a tour down at Gettysburg. They're good friends of ours. They're good friends of my family's, and we love every chance we get to go out to Gettysburg and visit them. And we did an investigation of the orphanage after the ghost tour. She let us go for about 15 minutes before the next tour came in, and she said we could do our thing for a little bit after everybody left out of the tour. So we were doing Estes methods and stuff like that in there, and stuff like that. And you're allowed the ghost tour for the orphanage. You're allowed to bring equipment with you. They do allow it. Nothing that makes noise. So like REM pods and stuff. If you can silence them, you can bring them and use them. But we used tripwire, and then we used I just used my standard Mel with the temperature and stuff, and we had a digital voice recorder going as well, and then we brought some cat balls in too. Um, and then another good place is Jenny Wade House. Even during the day, we got some paranormal stuff happening in there. Um, but when you do the day tours of the Jenny Wade House, they don't like you talking about the ghosts during the day. So, and then the Farnsworth House is another one that's a pretty haunted area in Gettysburg as well. All the battlefields got some activity in them too. I will see if I can pull up my video from Gettysburg. I believe I have an edited version where I shorten it down to where you see the entity that I caught from Gettysburg. Let me see if I can find it here. But I know you can investigate the battlefields, but you can't go there at night. I know that. But yeah, you they don't allow it. Hold on one second, and I'm editing my video Gettysburg here. But we captured a figure on video. I was live on Facebook and you can see this man in armor appear just along the edge of the woods. And they did have some Chinese. He looked like a Chinese man in armor, and they come to find out they did have some Chinese people that fought in the Civil War, and I don't have it on this computer, but I'll find it and I will play it Sunday for you guys. Um, but they had some Chinese men, not very many, only a few that fought in the Civil War out there in Gettysburg. And Tatum, friend who has an RV, and I want him to take me to Devil's Stomping Ground and Brown Mountain Lights. Oh yeah, but some of the stuff when we were up on Little Round Top up there, there was we heard a cannon go off while we were up there, and we seen smoke roll up over the trees down on the other side of Devil's Den. As if you've been to Little Round Top, uh, you will see that you can look over Devil's Den because that's where General Warren would stand with his binoculars and watch the whole battle take place and knew where he had to move troops to and stuff like that. And so we were up there and we heard the cannon fire, seen the smoke, and we asked one of the rangers, were they doing any reenactments on the battlefield? He says, no, they're not allowed to reenact on the battlefield. And I said, well, we just heard a cannon go off and seen smoke down there by Devil's Den roll up over the trees. He says, that's kind of funny. We heard that too. He says, that's quite common. You'll hear cannon fire out there. And he said to us that they would hear that on a bunch of tours. And then, so I started walking over by the statue of General Warren and I got down over the hill a little bit and I look down and I see this man go like this out from behind this rock formation. And he looked at me and then quick ducked back. I don't know if he thought maybe I was an enemy or something, or I didn't look right to him. And then he ducked back behind the rocks and just disappeared. Now, this is broad daylight. And a lot of people see it when they come through there. And the smell out here is just crazy too. You can kind of smell like the iron, like over by Devil's Den. They got the marsh and Little Round Top. This is called the Bloody Field. And you'll see that black figure as I'm panning through there. You'll see a black figure pop up quick and then leave. About 8:45. Those are like monuments and stuff to mark the infantry and stuff, the ones that had died here. They're like little monuments they put up for them. There went bring that back for you. You will see that black figure appear on the screen, and it's gone as fast as it goes up.
Those are like monuments and stuff to mark the infantry and stuff, the ones that had died here. They're like little monuments they put up for them.
It just popped up. There you go, right in front. And a viewer of mine that was watching, my friend Carol Garcia, she said it looked like a man in Chinese armor. Trying to see if I can get it there to where I can get it to stop so you guys can actually see it because it's so quick. There you can see where it's starting to take shape. If you look to the left towards the back of the woods, you'll see it starts to take shape back along the tree line there. And it's just forming. And then as I walk, it goes poof and it molds right up to a big figure. And I got looking at the video some more, and towards the back where you see the grass is cut, it goes back towards the woods back there because there's more monuments back there. And it shows another figure, a white figure, had popped up. The strange white mist just popped up.
You need over a week to check this place out because it's so huge. You probably spend like 2 weeks and still never pass through the whole battlefield areas. I went live for a few minutes at Little Round Top, but there were so many people up there, we couldn't film. They're giving bus tours up there. But there will be pictures posted of Little Round Top. There's a cannon, so you can actually view inside of it.
Now, this field, over 1,700 people died there on that battlefield.
They mustered out in June 16th of 1865. They were engaged in 32 battles. 10 wounded, 8 missing.
As you see, I get closer to the woods and there's nothing. Like that figure was there and then gone. that was it. That's all I captured. And that field, most of them died from heat exhaustion because it was so hot and they were in these wool clothing and they were being shot at from all different sides. So they had to lay down on the ground, and a lot of them had been shot. And the ones that weren't, they all died of heat exhaustion, being packed up in all these their military get up and backpacks and stuff they carried, and it was hot that day. And I can remember a friend of mine telling me they used to go there as kids and they would walk through the field wearing white shoes and it'd be wet, and their shoes would be red because of all the blood that has been in that ground and the iron. And you could still smell some of the iron there at Gettysburg. And that's like Devil's Den when I was up on Devil's Den, and I still need to get that video together and I will put it on my YouTube channel. When I was walking Devil's Den, I was live on Facebook, and I didn't know it at the time. I didn't hear it with my own ears. When I went back to review the audio and rewatched the video to see if maybe I caught anything, I was listening with headphones and I could hear horses galloping, and you could hear boots marching right along with me as I was walking. Now, it was raining on and off that day, so the ground was wet. So we weren't in any gravel or stones or anything. We were in just dirt. And I got out onto the blacktop, started walking the road down through, and you could feel people watching you down there. And so I walked the wooded road down through, got to the bottom down there, and I found a trail which came out right below Devil's Den. So I decided I was going to hike that. And if it wasn't growing up, I was going to show my audience what it's like to charge a hill. I was going to charge the hill. And but it was all grown up the weeds and stuff, and so I started walking the hiking trail, and you just got that feeling like you weren't alone down there. I mean, you could literally feel you weren't walking alone down through there. And I captured more audio down there of the soldiers walking with me, and then I ended up in the woods below Little Round Top, and so I circled around back to the parking lot. Come to find out, the soldiers used to be trained, bussed in by train in there, and stuff like that. And they ended up selling the train rails and stuff. That's how they used to bring them in. And I was also near the woods where the Confederates tried to ambush uh, Little Round Top, where they come out of the woods. They tried to ambush them, and they couldn't do it. Little Round Top, they were dug in, and they got them all. I had cold chills sometimes when I read about any kind of story. Yeah, I mean, the Gettysburg Battle was one of the tops. My one of my family members was also killed there. I'll see if I can get a picture. and he was one of the highest ranking officers out there in the Gettysburg battle. He know that General Lee has been there. Yep, General Lee has. Um, this is my cousin, General John Franklin Reynolds, who was killed out there, and the woods are named after him, Reynolds Woods. His first day out in command, and he was on his horse, getting ready to lead the charge, and his battalion pleaded with him to get off his horse because of the sharpshooters being out there. He wouldn't do it. And he was getting ready to lead the charge, and sharpshooter caught him in the back of the neck, and he fell right off his horse, and he was dead before he hit the ground. And they named the woods out there at the Gettysburg battlefield Reynolds Woods, and he was one of the highest for both sides actually. Even though he was on the Union, he was higher than everybody out there. He got to the point he was Major General Franklin Reynolds, and they got a big statue monument out there for him as well, um, which I got to see. And they wanted him to lead another company out there, and he turned it down, and he led the Pennsylvania one out there at the charge of Reynolds Woods, and he's been in several of the. He was in the Mexican American War and several other wars as well. He also fought in the southern part of the Civil War as well too, down through Tennessee and Virginia and all that. And doing genealogy, I was able to find him listed as one of my family members. And we had another cousin also get killed out there his first day out at Gettysburg. He was only 18 years old on the Union side. He was also shot and killed out there his first day out, left behind a wife and a baby. And we've had family fight in the Revolutionary War as well. My Ball family was part of that, because through them we're related to George Washington, which is pretty neat, being related to a U.S. president. Um, but yeah, we've got the lineage, the whole New England lineage up through there. We're all related. That stretched all the way down to the south, down in Tennessee and Kentucky, Virginia, stuff like that. Sorry, guys. StreamYard's having issues tonight. I don't know what's going on with it. Even half my comments are already gone. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard tonight. I'm there now, cuz I don't know what's going on. StreamYard being an idiot tonight. I know my friend Holy Wet, she had issues with StreamYard last night for her show too. StreamYard's been acting up as of late. I don't know what's going on with it. Um, it's been doing this as a late blacking out and coming back in. But but yeah, Gettysburg is interesting. We've got our battlefields here in Missouri too. Lexington, the Battle of Lexington, Missouri, and Springfield, Missouri has all got Civil War battlefields here too as well. And I've been to both of them. Um, we're planning on possibly doing some investigations. Yeah, Gary, I don't know what's going on. Coley had a problem with her StreamYard last night too, and mine's acting up as well. I don't know if StreamYard's getting too much traffic or they're doing something with it. I have no idea. Um, but it's been doing this past few times. It's blacked out, and we're not even talking anything demonic. Usually, it happens when I talk about something demonic. It starts blacking out. But um, anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them up in the chat. I'm gonna be jumping off here soon. We got a busy day tomorrow. Building equipment and doing merch. We're working on more stuff. I've got stuff in the works. I've been designing equipment, so um, and designing merch and shirts and stuff. So we'll have that stuff out pretty soon for order. Um, he's doing good. He'll be on with me Sunday night. We will be doing a Sunday night show as well. And like I said, we're booked for several Paracons this year, and I'll run down the list for you. May 9th, as I showed you at the beginning of the show, we're at a paranormal event there, hosted by Eclipse Paranormal, Mortuary Manor. So you can get your tickets through Eclipse Paranormal at Eventbrite. If you're coming to Ohio to investigate, the VIP tickets are about $119. That will get you access to investigate with my dad and I. You will be part of our crew for the night, and you'll learn from us. Hopefully, I'll be bringing some prototype equipment with me around that time. I believe we are doing Mushroom Fest and Water Fest here in Missouri this year. I believe that's down in Richmond, Missouri. I'm waiting to hear details on that with my cousin Kathy. My cousin Kathy's managing all our merch and stuff like that, and she's now a member of our team and our business. So, and the next Paracon is mainly most of our Paracons are all August. August 6th, we're at Bordertown Paracon in Caney, Kansas, which is August 6th. And then the next weekend after is when we're at the horror movie convention, Crypticon, for 3 days. And then after that in September, we are at the West Kentucky Paranormal Expo with Tent Paranormal's hosting that. My buddy Kent, my buddy Outlaw Paranormal will be there. Oh wow, Nicholas Brendan died also. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't hear that. I only knew about Chuck Norris today. But and then October we will be at Rock Island Paracon. That is the first weekend of October. Um, you can get your tickets for that at extremeticketing.com. Um, June 20th or June 26th, something like that. I will be posting it soon. We will be at the Get Haunted event at Missouri State Penitentiary. Um, we'll be there investigating with the Get Haunted crew. Um, right? The man's immortal, that's for sure. He's in the afterlife now, so you know how many ghost butts he's kicking in the afterlife. Him and Bruce Lee are actually probably doing another movie. That's all right, Granzer. This is the first night we're back on Friday nights. We're going to be doing Friday nights from now on, Fridays and Sundays, because Saturdays my schedule is just too busy with the business and selling merch, and we're making merch and all kinds of stuff. We've got a whole array of stuff coming out, including paranormal equipment. Yeah, I loved Walker, Texas Ranger. I loved watching that TV show. I've watched it since I was a teenager. Yeah, I enjoyed watching Walker, watching all the Chuck Norris movies, and one of my favorite Chuck Norris movies is The Hitman with him and Michael Parks. And then another one of my favorite movies is Lone Wolf McQuade that he played in. And then I'm trying to remember the name of the Bruce Lee movie he was in, and he fought Bruce Lee at the end of the movie. And Fridays, you're up against the Foreman Brothers, Lon Stricker's channel, the Paranormal Portal, and Brent Thomas. Yeah, I know. Those guys got a big following on their channels, so I just enjoy the people that are watching me too. So it doesn't matter how many watch. I don't do it for the views. I do it to educate, and hopefully maybe somebody gets find some information out of it. I'm not doing it for the fame or the fortune or the money. Yeah, him and Bruce Lee were best friends. They trained together, they sparred together, and they fought in that one movie together too. And that's when Bruce Lee grabbed bunch of hair off Chuck Norris's chest and ripped it off. But yeah, he was in a lot of good movies. The Delta Force movies are good ones with Chuck Norris. Um, like I said, Lone Wolf McQuade was another good one, another one of my favorites, where he beats the hell out of David Carradine. Um, then the Hitman, Invasion USA is another good one. Missing in Actions were good. I had like Missing in Action 2, where he's actually in the Vietnam prison and he escapes. Was another good one. And then the Hitman. You got a Chuck Norris move. I like the bootlicker when he kicked someone in the face. Well, he kicked the bully in the face. Yeah. Yeah, I know how to do one of his roundhouse kicks. Buddy of mine, his dad, I used to train with him when I was 16. He knew Korean karate, and my buddy Carl and I would work out with his dad when we were younger because we both played basketball, so we had to kind of work out and stay in training and stuff. And. 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 And Not only that, we were practicing how to be break dancers back in the day too, because I used to DJ so quite a bit back then, and I was also into the paranormal back then as well too. I just watched Missing in Action, the second one, but I changed it over to you. Yeah, that Missing in Action 2 is a good movie. I love that movie. My dad and I used to watch it all the time. In fact, we just watched a Chuck Norris movie a couple nights ago. We're watching the Delta Force, the second one, where he goes over to Colombia to rescue those FBI agents over there, and he goes over there to rescue them. His buddy gets killed by the big kingpin over there, Billy Drago, and Chuck Norris gets even and goes over there and takes them all out. So when I heard Chuck Norris passed away, I said, "Man, that is, I don't know how many generations childhood that was gone." An icon, yeah, definitely. I mean, because I can remember Chuck Norris when I was a kid. Yeah, the Chuck Norris had a Saturday. Yeah, I do remember that cartoon. And yeah, he's definitely an icon. And like I said, our condolences from all of us go out to his family, and prayers are with his family, his brother, his wife, his grandchildren, his kids. And many of you know, if you watched uh, the Delta Force 2, you know where he's swinging on that pipe to get up top up there into the balcony? If you look, you'll see it's his brother, Aaron Norris, doing the stunts for him. He was Chuck Norris' stunt double. And some will remember 70s Chuck Norris, some will remember 80s Chuck and 90s Chuck. Yeah, see, I grew up through the 80s and the 90s, so I remember the 80s and 90s. I've watched some of his 70s movies as well, too. Breaker Breaker was one of them. There was that Octagon one that was in the 70s that he did. And then the Bruce Lee movie in the 70s where Chuck Norris played the villain. That was a pretty good one. But he'll definitely be missed. But I'm waiting to see the Spirit Box guys on YouTube to start, now that he's passed on, try to communicate with him through the bots like Huff Paranormal and Cody from ITC. Cody ITC, they do the celebrity paranormal spirit box sessions. I can't forget how many times Chuck Norris graced the cover of various martial arts magazines and health workout. Yeah, and I mean that was kind of shocking when I heard that first time he had 2 heart attacks. That first time he ended up in the hospital there, he had 2 heart attacks, and then he now I heard he was in the hospital in Hawaii here for a medical issue and then passed away. But yeah, there's a lot of legends in the are passing away. I mean, look, you got Gene Hackman last year. Um, Look at Meathead from All in the Family, Rob Reiner. Legend has it when Chuck Norris did push-ups, he moved the earth. Yeah, they always had all those funny memes for Chuck Norris too when it came out. They had a Chuck Norris mobile game also. I don't know if it's still out. There was a Chuck Norris mobile game. And I think they made a Chuck Norris video game as well. Also, that was back in the day. And then they did. They had all kinds of Chuck Norris stuff. I believe he did. I believe there was a Chuck Norris video game, but I can't think of the name of it. May have to see. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, he was featured in several video games, most notably in '83 and '84, titled Chuck Norris Super Kick for Atari 2600, Commodore 64, and ColecoVision. So that, and then he had a game in 2008, Bring on the Pain, a side-scrolling mobile beat 'em up. And then crime boss Rockay City, Norris appears as a character, the sheriff, in this organized crime video game. And crime boss Rockay City. So yeah, he was in a couple video games. Yeah, that was what I was going to ask. If not a video game, then a video game that had a guy on the cover in his likeness. You know, some of these home video games, you put in the cartridge and the screen shows a guy that looks like Chuck. Yeah, yeah, you got several of them that do. Well, that's like the old Nintendo video game Bayou Billy. If you look at him, he kind of resembles Crocodile Dundee. But yeah, there is several that resemble Chuck Norris. But those video games were gold before now. Probably, geez, their stock just rose. Oh yeah, especially the Atari games. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be collector's items because I mean they don't make Atari anymore. So and that was on Atari, Chuck Norris Super Kick. So that will probably go up now. Yeah, I've never either heard a negative thing about him either. He was always, from what I've heard, he was a down to earth, real nice guy. Do anything for anybody. He loved training people in martial arts and stuff like that. No, he didn't live there. I think he was. Somebody said he was there training. He was visiting in Hawaii. He I want to say Chuck Norris. He had his own ranch and stuff. Chuck Norris primarily lived on his ranch in Navasta, Texas. That's where he lived down in Texas. In the 90s, he lived in California, which is his ranch is known as Lone Wolf Ranch. And that's but he owned a Paradise Island ranch in Hawaii also. In 2015, he owned the Paradise Island Ranch on Kauai's North Shore since 2015, and that's where he was at. He was at he was at his home there, and then got rushed to the hospital. We need a Russell Reynolds video game. That'd be awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome. A Russell Reynolds video game. That'd be interesting. on how they would make something like that. Be like a paranormal game, me going after the ghosts and the demons. Well, I've written 3 movies. I'm gonna get them filmed here. 2 of them are gonna be a lower production because I don't need much for them, but the other one's gonna be a big production one. Um, they are they are done. The big production one I'm still working on. That's Hell in the Woods. That one's, like I said, is gonna be a major one. The other 2 are done. They're written, and the screenplay is written for them, and the scripts and everything are done for them. Update on the book. It is done. So I will be sending it off to the editor and then to the publisher. So be on the lookout for that. It should be out sometime this year. So it took a while to write. My busy schedule between working a full time job, and trying to write and investigating. So thanks. Yeah, it's between the movies and the book. It's gonna be awesome. The movies are gonna be good too, and I'm starring in all 3 of them. So um, and I'm trying to get surprises for Hell in the Woods and stuff like that. And my one, I wrote 2 paranormal movies, and the other one's more of a urban legend horror movie. Russ, remember that guy asked that nasty question last stream? Was he part of the channel you used to be a part of but left? I don't think so. I think he's just one of the trolls that want to mess around. I don't think he's part of that. I mean, I'm still good friends with KD and Katie on that channel. I only left because of it had nothing to do with KD, Katie, Brandon, Greg. It was another certain person. That's why I left. I caused me a bunch of drama. And I didn't want it anymore. So figured me leaving, go do my own thing, that would stop that, and it did. So that's the real reason why I left. Had nothing to do with KD. I love KD and Katie. I'm still friends with them both. They're still awesome people. Their equipment's awesome, and it had nothing to do with them why I left. And since I left, more doors and opportunities have opened up for me as well too. So, and I wish them all the best over there on the network. I mean, and what they're doing in their future endeavors. There's no hate here. Yeah, I know, Granzer. And I mean, it was hard to leave that channel, but sometimes you have to walk away and regroup. And that's what I did. I walked away, and I mean, I still go on and support the channel. I mean, like Greg Koss asked me come on the show, I come on the show. Um, it's incredible how many paranormal channels are out there. Yeah, there's a lot. Um, I mean, you got a All Access TV network, and you've got the Get Haunted network. I mean, there's quite a few of them, and you've got BMR and you got SNX Radio. Another good group of people. Check their channels out. Check out Coley Webb's channel, SNX Radio. Check out Bigfoot Michigan Rob. If you missed that show, um, go on their channels and check it out. I was on there last Friday. It was an almost 3 hour show, and we were talking about, if you want to learn about the demonic, we were talking about it. That was an awesome show, and I thank those guys again for having me on. And we will be back on there at a later date. My dad will be on there with me along with Sister Farah. And Russell, the Foreman Brothers, aka Paranormal Nightmare TV, man, they said they started around 2002 ish and even 2005 ish. They're they they're still, yeah, they got some seasons in them. They're seasoned, but I started investigating the paranormal at 13 years old, which that was back in the 90s. So that was like 90, 92, 93. But the group formed in 2012. I like PMR, but not a fan of some of his mods. They gatekeep like the way I joked with you. They would time me out. They're out of control, so I won't watch him any longer. Oh, okay, yeah, I know some of his mods that were moderating that night. Paranormal Paul, I was a guest on his show several years ago. Another good podcaster. Check out his channel as well too. Um, he puts on a pretty good show. I've moderated NFL channels since 2015, so I know what I'm doing. I don't behave that way. Yeah, I mean, once I get up there, Granzer, I'll make you a mod of my channel as well too. When I get more of the subscribers, I'm not up there yet. I'm only at 200 and some. Which, like I said, I'm not in it for the views or the fame. I mean, it's nice, but I like doing it my way. And I mean, Facebook, I've got over 5,000, close to 6,000 Facebook followers, and my personal page has even got over 5,000. And yeah, I get timed out. Some said, "Why did you time him out?" So it was not only me who had the issue with it. Yeah, I mean, if you're making a joke, there's nothing wrong with that. You need some laughter. I mean, and BMR, him and I, we know quite a few of the same people we're friends with. Yeah, that man, I saw he's so busy. He told me he does like 6 shows in a week. I know Coley, she does several as well too, with it. And the 29th of March, we will be on uh paranormal podcast. My dad and I both will be with Sean Ellis and Pam on All Access TV Network. It's going to air at, I believe, 7 o'clock p.m. I will get the flyer and I will post it. That will be on the 29th. That will be on a Sunday. So the 29th, there will not be a Sunday show because we'll be guests on that show. So we won't be doing a Sunday show the 29th um, of March. So definitely check that show. And I've got several podcast appearances coming up in April. I've got some in April. I've got some in May, and I've got one in June as well. So I know the one I'm on in May. It's the weekend when I'm back from Mortuary Manor in Ohio. The next weekend after that, BMR had a guest, Arla. I think she is a witch, and had a guy go on there who debated what she was saying in regards to Mexican legends. The guy was correcting her. Yeah, you'll have that with people. They'll do that. Um, but yeah, we do get the trolls. I mean, you know how paranormal can be. You get the skeptics, you get the wise asses and stuff like that that want to troll or chat rooms and think they're being funny by making jokes like that. And then they're the ones that they make jokes like that. They're the ones that are calling me for help because they don't believe in it. They make the jokes about it, make fun of it, and then it happens to them. They don't learn their lessons when they do that. And that saying, we're gonna get ready to get off here for the night. We we're headed to our cousins tomorrow to work on building more equipment and getting more merch. The equipment we're designing has not been put out. It's my own design. I designed them. My cousin Brad and I were building them together, working together on it. So, um, funny thing about it is that guy was not trolling. He was correcting her, and she would not have it. I was like, admit you are wrong and apologize. Don't get combative. Yeah, definitely. I agree, Granzer. I mean, it's like that guy we had Sunday night there that wanted to do that, shoot his mouth off like that. I mean, it only makes him look dumb because he's the one that got kicked for it. Instead of being normal and coming on and watching and learning something, instead of being an idiot like that and start trashing and making those vulgar comments, dropping a load in a ghost. I mean, what's that serve? Yeah, the Sunday night guy. Yeah, he was trolling. He was trolling big time. I would get him on Supernatural Link also once in a while too. I'd still get him here on my when I was on Saturdays. I'd still get him as well too. Have you ever caught the show Ghost Casebrook? Ghost is Nicola and she's British. No, I haven't. I'll have to check that one out. If you want another good ghost movie to watch, check out Camp Colebrook with Danielle Harris. That's another good movie to check out. And then Haunted Cell Block 11 is another good movie, ghost movie to check out. Haunted Cell Block 11 was filmed in the Missouri State Penitentiary in Cell House 3. Like when I say, hey, if you ever want me to wear a white sheet, rattle chains, and say boo, I can do that, right? Well, that's like you can implant that mind seed in somebody's mind doing that too. You can just, but we're going to go ahead and get off here for the night and everybody be safe out there. I thank you guys for joining me tonight and checking out the top 10 most haunted places in America. If you guys like that show, hit me up in the comments or message me and let me know if you like that, and I'll do more of them. I've got some more ideas for some future shows about getting some haunted videos from people. If you want to send me your haunted videos and play them on the show, and we'll run down and check out your paranormal activity that you captured. You can do that to me, and I'll even generate videos for them on my YouTube channel. There's a classic Abbott Costello, best times of their lives, you right? Good night, Sandy. Tune in Sunday. But yeah, tune in Sunday. We will be on. My dad and I both will be on Sunday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. And with that being said, if you're being bullied in the paranormal field, you do have a voice. Nobody's better than anybody in this field. We're all after the same common goal to prove the existence of life after death. So, with that being said, everybody have a good night. Stay safe out there. Everybody in the chat, everybody watching. If you're investigating this weekend, be safe and don't let the ghosts get you. And if you're traveling this weekend, also be safe. I know a lot of people, there's events this weekend, paranormal events. Be sure to be safe on your travels. And we will see you on Sunday night, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern. With my dad and I, we'll probably be talking about various paranormal topics, and I'll probably put the link in the chat. So if one of you guys want to come on with us, you're welcome to do so. So with that being said, everybody have a good night. Stay safe out there. God bless, and we will see you Sunday night, same time, same channel. Ignore the see you next Saturday on the outro. I'm gonna change that when I get a chance here. But we will see you again soon. Have a good night, everyone. God bless.